Hey guys, Corey Correa here. Welcome to Blue Talks, and I hope you enjoy this video.
Thank you so much. This is such an honor to be here today at Oxford, and I'm really excited to be able to share a couple of things with you. I want to take you on a little bit of a journey with me, if you'll indulge me for about 20 minutes. I want to start with a story that happened really casually at a business meeting one day. We were sitting there, and there had just been an oil spill in our local river. And I was sitting with the gentleman who had the unfortunate duty of being the PR man for the company. And we were talking, and he said, "Oh my gosh, this is so much." He goes, we have hundreds of people in town. We are doing everything we can. We are washing ducks with Dawn liquid." And he's telling me this story. And I looked at him and I said, "Boy, wouldn't it be interesting if we had that kind of a response to people who are struggling?" And it sat in my head, and he goes, "Melanie, you have to go find the Desmond Tutu quote because it's exactly what you just said." So I'm going to start my story with this quote. And most of you probably know it. You've heard it many times, but I'm going to weave it into a story that then takes us to a different place. This quote is, "There comes a time where we need to stop pulling people out of the river, and instead we need to go upstream and find out why they're falling in." It resonated with me that day, and it's resonated with me every day since. And I've really decided at this point to kind of take it to the next level. But at the time, I think we have to start in this journey knowing that I was one of those people that was a fixer. I could fix anything. My job included it. I was supposed to be pulling people out of the river. I was supposed to be making sure that our company was always in the best light. I was the person that made the 3 talking points, so every time you walked into an interview, you were ready to go. I solved every problem that could possibly happen. At the same time, my personal life was kind of also taking a weird turn. I had recently been remarried. I had 2 beautiful children. And at one point, my husband was diagnosed with a chronic illness, and that was very, very upsetting to us. But the bigger thing that happened in my life is our daughter started to show signs that she had a really serious substance use disorder. I didn't really know what to do. I'd seen it in my family previously. My brother also had that problem, but I really had never dealt with it before. But because I was so good at my job of being the fixer and being able to solve any problem, I viewed it just as another thing that I needed to get taken care of. And so when we were clipping along and she was really having a lot of trouble, I thought, well, the obvious answer here is we're going to go to treatment. We'll send her to treatment. She'll be fine and everything will be great. I'll go back to my really nice, cushy corporate job. I'll continue fixing for people and everything will be great. And this is why when I hear people say, anytime I ask somebody, I don't ask this question anymore for this reason. If I ask you how you're doing and you tell me you're fine, I just don't believe you anymore. So I now start asking different questions like, so what'd you do today? What are you working on? Different kinds of questions, because I've gotten a little bit cynical in the sense of that I don't really believe people are fine. And so to fast forward this story, I am now working in 2 separate rivers. And I use the river metaphor often in my speeches because it really makes the point of everything is always in motion. And in a river, you never really know what's coming next. You never really know where you're at. But you have to remember from the beginning of this story, I spend most of my life downstream. I spend most of my life picking people out of the stream, and I'm good at it. But I didn't love it. And when my daughter started to have issues, and I started to realize that this is a pattern, like I'm really good at fixing things, but I'm not very good at empowering others to fix it for themselves. And it was the first time that anybody called me an enabler. And that came from the AA world. They're like, don't enable someone, don't do something that someone else could do for themselves. And I was really making sure that I was not letting her experience any discomfort, any pain. She was my child. I didn't want that. I also did that at work every single day. Well, one unfortunate day, these two rivers that I'm floating on and taking care of everybody, and I've got everybody where they need to be, all of a sudden they collide. And they collide in a really unfortunate way. In the middle of the night, I got a phone call, and she was in jail. She had gotten a second DUI. And that following morning, I had a really important stakeholder breakfast for work. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it some more. And I got up and I went to the breakfast. And I left our daughter in jail. And to this day, it almost gives me like a little bit of a shake, because in that moment, you feel like the worst mother that's ever been on the planet. I also know that it sounds like I prioritized work over her, and that was tragic for me. But what it really taught me was I'm in a really bad place. This is not good. I cannot do this anymore. I can't continue to fix and fix and fix and fix and fix. Now, I'd like to tell you that I woke up the next morning and all was better, but it wasn't. It took me 3 more good years to figure this out. But trust me, it gets to be a really good story. So in about 3 years, all of a sudden we're at COVID. And COVID hits. And we had been told, I worked in an office, really traditional, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, went to lunch every day. I was just that person. And all of a sudden, they told us we had to go home. And we're like, well, that's ridiculous. We can't work from home. We don't, it was just ridiculous. So my boss, who also thought it was like really out of bounds, went and asked the public health director if we could be deemed essential. I was deemed essential in COVID. Now, again, there's like a part of you that's like feels good about that. Like, oh, I'm essential. They need me to fix COVID in our community. I am that powerful. When in all actuality, after I thought about this for a while, I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. I am a PR person. I do marketing and business development. I am not essential, and I should not be sitting here. And with great joy, my boss came in one day and he says to me, and I'll never forget it, because these moments of your life that just keep adding on, you're just getting this pile on factor. And it's like, when are you going to stop this? When will you ever say no? When will this ever end? He says to me, he goes, Melanie, we've decided to make you the JIC. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound good. And he goes, it's a military term for Joint Information Center. We'd like you to run it for COVID, for the whole community. And I was like, okay. I mean, he's my boss. So now I'm in charge of communications. Well, what they didn't tell me that day was this, that to be the JIC, you actually were the person that had to talk to the elected officials. And they had been at odds with each other. The city and the county were at odds. And so they needed somebody, the fixer, to show up and be nice to all of the elected officials and make sure they were good with COVID. I jokingly say this because I know COVID was a very, very serious situation, but I said I felt like I was running the Hunger Games of COVID in my town. Like, who's going to get the vaccine? When are we going to tell people? How soon should we let them know? The 2 hospitals are fighting over who has it. I'm supposed to let the elected officials know. It was a nightmare. And after COVID, at the very end of COVID, I was asked to ghostwrite an op-ed for my boss and the head of another organization for us. And I sat down and I wrote this op-ed, probably the best piece of journalism I ever wrote that I can't find. I just remember it. I remember it vividly. And I gave it a spin of optimism. We're going to come out of this. We're a strong community. We can do this. We need to go upstream and figure out what the solutions are. And all of a sudden, I was like, I had to put their name on it and I had to submit it. And I was like, and I'm done. I planned my exit. I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going upstream. I'm going to go lead the way I want to lead, because this isn't it. So keep in mind, our daughter is still experiencing the addiction, but I am starting to understand my role. My role isn't about fixing her. My role is about fixing me. And if I could get myself straight and I could start helping people in the way that I wanted to, then I could be effective. Then I wouldn't be a downstream manager anymore and picking people out of the river. I would be an upstream leader, a person that cares about everyone, cares about the people in your workplace, cares about their family, but cares in a way that is appropriate rather than enabling. I never wanted anybody to call me an enabler again. I still get it occasionally, don't get me wrong. I mean, you can't get rid of it completely, but I do better now because I have learned that if you give people the tools, the resources, the time, the energy that they need, they will be successful on their own, and you will be their mentor. That is a way better place to be for me. So from this quote, I started a class. In the state of Montana, we have what's called Leadership Montana. I'd already taken it way back in the day, and they were offering a master's class. So now I'm getting ready to leave my job. I decided I'm going to take this master's class because I'm interested in learning more about leadership. I thought it would be a good way to connect and do some networking. I joined a class, a cohort of 20, and we started a meeting, and we would travel around the state of Montana and visit different towns. But all of our time was about, what is your leadership philosophy? So I had the privilege to spend 9 months deciding what my leadership philosophy was going to be. It was the most rewarding time I've ever had in my life, in my career. It didn't just help me professionally, it helped me personally. It helped me understand our daughter. It helped me understand what she was going to need and where we were going to be going with her. It helped with my other child who was kind of, to be honest, when I was being the fixer, she was kind of forgotten. You know, she was okay, so we didn't fix anything there. She didn't need it. Only to find out she did need it. She just wouldn't tell us. So now I've got this opportunity to learn about my leadership style, and I took it seriously. And over the 9 months, every single month we would meet, we would evolve our leadership statement into something. And this is what mine ended up being. Foster a culture of empathy, respect, and collaboration. Communicate graciously, listening with intention, and speaking with clarity. Open doors of opportunity for others, stewarding them toward their greatest dreams and potential. That was upstream leadership to me, and I was going to go do it. So I started in this 9 months, and then I've continued it, and I've built a new format that I can live by, but now I'm starting to teach it because what I realized was there's a lot of people like me. There's a lot of people in the world who are out there fixing problems and pulling people from the downstream scenario. And so I was like, the first thing that would lead me to an upstream leadership would be awareness. If you're downstream picking people out of the river that are having problems every single day, you're going to have to get a new perspective. You're going to have to go to a different place, which means taking yourself out of your comfort zone and where you're at and going upstream and looking. And what you realize when you start to lift and look out is all of the possibilities. I was so hunched over and just looking at the next problem, the next problem, the next problem, that I didn't lift and look. And all of a sudden I was like, I can do anything. I don't need to work for someone. I don't need to go to an office every single day. I can do anything. And I can be a mother to these children that are now adults that really need a different mother than what they had previously. And I started working on it, and I still work on it every single day. So that first piece is to lift and look out. Like, what is the awareness? What is the possibility that you could bring to the world? Because every single person I meet has some expertise, some skill that is amazing to me. And like, I was sitting in the chair listening to all of the other speakers, and we're sitting in Oxford. Who can't tell me that this isn't like the opportunity of a lifetime? And this wouldn't have happened to me 10 years ago. I would have been too scared. I would have been too worried about what everybody else was doing. I couldn't leave my kids. I could, whatever. But now we're here. We're all here. And it's amazing. The second piece for being a great upstream leader is really the trust and respect that you're going to have to build with the people that you work with. And for me, this is really about bringing in mental health into the workplace, just like we bring in skills and talents. We are now having to merge them. They're coming together. And so in order to have trust and respect for someone, you have to believe that they're doing the absolute best they can with what they have right now. That's trust and that's respect. And if you think about it in a river scenario, I always think about it as kind of the rocks, right, that are underneath the surface. Because in order to have trust, you have to really believe that underneath the surface, people are really doing what they're supposed to be doing. And what those rocks are doing is keeping the river together and from eroding, right? So they're holding it together. The respect is also kind of those river banks that make the boundaries. We're keeping everything inside. We're working together. We're navigating the hard parts together. We're enjoying the soft parts together. And let's be honest, we need to celebrate more often. We need to be having way more fun than what we're having right now. I just believe that. That's just something. And we were just talking about it the other day about how it's so easy to just jump over a success or a celebration. And so tonight, I really hope that we can all just celebrate together because of this experience. The next piece that I want to talk about is integration. So we've got the awareness, we're lifting and looking. We've got the trust and respect. We're building with each other. We're doing what we say we're going to do. We're providing a good foundation. The next part is you really have to integrate it for everyone. It's not just the leaders that need this. It's everyone needs this. I talk about it from a leadership perspective, but the truth is, if you're working in an environment right now in a culture and you don't feel respected or trusted or that you are seen, you're probably not going to be there very much longer. So this is really a retention piece if you're looking at it from the business side. We need to make sure people want to work for us and they want to stay with us. And that comes from integrating a culture where we care about the whole person. The whole person. And that means if I show up and I'm kind of down in the dumps, somebody says to me, hey, Melanie, are you doing okay? And if I say fine, I'm lying. And, but it's like, oh, my mom's been sick. And so I'm kind of distracted today. And the team wraps, right? Like wrap around a person that isn't doing well. And we know, and it flows beautifully. In the world of a river metaphor, it flows when this is working in your workplace. Because everybody's on the same page and they're just gently moving where we're going. And if somebody's over here like rolling through the rapids, we're like, ooh, we got to go help them. We need to go not save them. We need to go find out what they need so that they can come back over here with us. Right? The last two pieces of this for me are pieces that I've always had. It's always just been a part of my DNA, which are empathy and resilience. But you hear those words a lot in our world right now. And empathy and resilience were working for me way back when I was the fixer, but they were in the wrong spot. I put them first. I thought if I had empathy and resilience, I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. In all actuality, empathy and resilience come at the end. They come at the end as this really beautiful foundation because a lot of people aren't raised with empathy. And a lot of people really don't have resilience because they haven't had to do anything that would build that for them. So now you've got this really beautiful culture where if you have people like me who have this natural empathy and this natural resilience, then you can move forward and have also add it to your upstream leadership piece. So I want to read this again because I want you to do what I did when I finished it. I thought about every single word that's in this statement. And I chose them pretty carefully because I really wanted people to feel the way that they feel like they can do anything. I want them to believe that I am not there to be their leader that's going to tell them, I need you to accomplish these 10 things. It's, I need you to accomplish your life's work. I need you to accomplish your passion. And whatever that is for you, whether it's with me or with someone else, we need to find it. So I don't really lead because I need profitability and all of these things. I lead because people need to find what it is that they are excellent at and go do that. And I want to spend as much of my time helping other people find that for themselves. So I want to start with the word foster a culture of empathy, respect, and collaboration. I think you're hearing that all the time in our world right now. We need to learn to collaborate. We need to learn to have respect for each other. Our world is a little tumultuous right now. If I could describe it in my river metaphor, I'd say we're in the whitewater rafting world right now. We are bouncing around. We are not sure what the next step is. We don't trust some of the information that's coming at us. So we really need to really pull that in, find our people, find our community, and build that. The next thing is about communication. And I added the word graciously because I have people who communicate with me often that are not gracious about it. They're direct or there's something and I kind of take offense to it. But then I go back and I try to remember that they're doing the best they can with what they have, the skills they've been given. So the skill I've been given is to communicate graciously because I want people to feel welcome. I want people to feel empowered. I want people to be encouraged when they meet me. I don't want them to feel like, oh, I hope I don't see her again. The next one is listening with intention and speaking with clarity. I think it is important for you to be direct and kind. And I know there's a famous saying by Brene Brown that I'm not going to get right now, but it's like speaking with clarity and being kind can go together. And you do not have to worry about hurting someone's feelings. And you do not have to worry about whether you're the one that is going to derail them. I can speak now very directly with my daughter. I ask the questions that needed to be asked 10 years ago. I ask them now. We get to have these conversations, and it is beautiful. The last thing, and this is actually the most important to me now at this part of my career, is stewarding others towards their greatest dreams and potential. Again, making sure that they get to go where they want to go, not where I want them to go. We all have businesses, and yes, we have wonderful employees, but you know that feeling when you have an employee that maybe is ready for their next step and you're holding them back. Don't do that. Talk to them. Communicate graciously, listen to them, and let them go to their next step so that they can reach their potential. There are a lot of people out there that can work for you, and there are a lot of people you can mentor, but help other people, especially younger people in the professional world right now, move on to their next great thing. So I want to thank you for having me today, and I want you to know that this is what UpStream leadership can look like, and I'd love to work with you. I also always end this speech with this because people ask me how my children are, how our daughter is. She's been sober for over 6 years, and she's in recovery, and she has a beautiful life. And I get to share that with her because I was willing to look at my life a little bit differently and make some changes. And it's really made our relationship just all that much better. So I encourage everyone to go lead upstream.